How's it going, guys, and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Where last left off, new testimony from Cowboy Guy. And we're gonna press every testimony. That's because you, how did you put it, pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That locker I used when I was a detective, a locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It would be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without even knowing it. Found a bloody handprint on Marcia's own locker. The print had been wiped. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the bloodstained handprint. So then, what about the bloody handprint? It wasn't mine. It's no mystery. Please explain. My locker is covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened. The murder touched the lock with my fingerprint by it. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. Chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me for a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? Next statement. Unrelated. They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast, while the other's a type of murder. He's right. Not although seemingly alike, they are totally different. I don't see the homonyms have to do with this. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? How do you know that? I may be the loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on reports. There was a blood stain at the scene, though thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found at Detective Gumshoe's locker. No fingerprints were detected in that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? The seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. Well, I can. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner? Well, I can prove it! What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. But that video is next to useless! It's full of blind spots! Blind spots? Places you can't see! The camera is panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. Objection! We don't have time for your speculation, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Haha, I can! Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us this I'll fast forward. Well, there we go, boys. Bringing our attention back to the security camera. It's a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. You can clearly be seen in this video. Oh, 8. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in the certain locker shown in this video. That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Can you like rewind faster, please? Oh my god. Oh, the white cloth! It's gone! What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order! Order! It would seem that you hold your horses. Sorry, partner. But you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. You dumbass. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I'll call your bluff. You say open that locker, now prove it. Everyone here knows it. A fingerprint sensor? We talked about this earlier today. This locker can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. Why am I giving the perfect Texas accent? So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? Jerky. I couldn't take a bite of it. I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! That was 1 word. With this, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Eating jerky. What? Olay, please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right, the only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? Wait, what? Okay, V is for victim, right? And K is for killer. What did you say? Ah, fuck. There? Officer Marshall was standing right here! So Officer Meekins didn't notice him standing there. That's almost as credible as Meekins' warp theory. Yeah, I'm reloading. I have no idea what he's trying to say. Perhaps you should think a little more about where Officer Marshall was. Officer Meekins should have seen him in the evidence room. That means the only place he could have been. Don't tell me like here where the blue badger was standing, was it? Like Officer Meekins went in here, blah 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 blah. Like K is for killer, right? And V is for victim, which is Officer Meekins. I have no idea where he could be. What? I don't quite understand the question here. I'm guessing here? Take that! It's probably wrong. Let me get this again. Perhaps. Officer Meekins should have seen him in the evidence room. That means the only place he could have been would be. I don't know, I'm guessing now. Oh, I'm right! Okay, so... Okay, what? The K... Oh, okay. I'm dumb again. That's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous! Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his ID card, sir. Yes, and did Detective Goodman how did he respond? His eye pulled off on me. Something about that officer's story puzzles me. If the man had his ID card, why did he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? Jerky! You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break that detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert here. This can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The Basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was open in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance he might be discovered later as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that the white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. Very well. Let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Perhaps show us why the witness had to open this locker. I'm stumped here. Like, I keep looking at the blue badger. It has to be something to do with that. Isn't that Edgeworth's knife? That doesn't look like the switchblade, does it? Oh, maybe it does. Well, it doesn't have the thing there. Yeah, I can't think of a reason. It's probably very obvious, but I can't see it. Okay, neat hint. Oh, is it really that? Okay, I did see it. Okay, we need to play it. I actually did see the... I'm gonna show you. But I didn't think it was important. Well, it is important, but that's not to this question. Like, here. The blood!
Take that!
For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins broke in on you. You asked to show your ID card. You pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. I should have gone with that. I know it was there, but I was just like unsure that if that's the one he was like gonna go for. Sometimes these things I need to like find. I can't, like, link him to the questions. Now then, Officer Marshall. Are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I earned the message, you all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgy Boy. 2 years ago, if you were the only half as persistent as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it. All right. It seems the time has come. What's this testament? Wow, really? Marshall's confession. I had to do it that day. I just couldn't stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins, so I knocked him out. I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. And there wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. Alright, since we're doing this. When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? Yes, a 9 incident. 2 years have passed since the case was closed. I was going to completely end with a transferal that day. Not if I had anything to do with it. That incident's not over. What did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When the case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time, no matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? Well, why he cares so much about it? Well, I can show you. One of the victims is Neil Marshall. Same last name as this guy. The day that I was... That's why I...
Hold it!
Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the detective's ID card. I stole that morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out the lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean, the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But you could because the rubber glove just happened to get stuck on the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins, certainly a one in a million type of person, mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his race this year. When did Edgy Boy get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me. I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way. With me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So you knocked Officer Meekins out and... I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long enough, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference though. The security tape is erased every 2 to 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came up, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is, on that day, there wasn't any murder there. But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates crime took place. What, are you blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker. Actually, no I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer. This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. I can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why? Why? But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Darkey was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember the Joe Darkey case. It involved 0 murders, didn't it? I didn't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way of the case. I'd better take another look at the files. I already know.
Objection!
Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned here in a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall, are you related to this man? Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard that name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? You must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands. What's his relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gunn, the then Deputy Chief of Police. The group of detectives I was a part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Joe Darkey. My brother fought Darkey and was killed. That was the first time Darkey left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. Has the same eyes as the police deputy guy. What was his name again? Shit! Oh, I can look it up. Oh, Damon Gunn. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed, at least according to the police records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Darkey. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There is more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Then what? Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day of the SL9 case would be reopened. Not satisfied with this solution, with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The thing that happened by chance never ceased to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. No, wait, don't tell me that Bruce Goodman is the actual real murderer. Or Bruce Goodman's in cahoots or some shit. What's going on? I guess Bruce is kind of guilty in some way. Chance? It's got to be more than just that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky.
Objection!
But wait! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial!
Objection!
Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me this boy's got Got the draw on you, partner. All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Sky. At the testimony of one of Miss Angel's star is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. Ah! I rest my case. It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt that what I proved today is true. The apparent murder of the security camera's tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant. Hold it. Oh, her. Oh, shit!
Your Honor, wait!
Emma!
The defense has an objection! A scientific objection! Right?
What do you mean, Wright? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Oh, in a sense.
Yeah, please, Your Honor. All I'm asking you is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgy Boy, please.
I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. 1,000?
I was kind of in a shock. I mean, finding out that SL9 incident referred to the Joe Darky killings?
Now that you mention it, the names of both Sky sisters were in that file.
But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. But left only one thing. The other handprint.
You mean the trace of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right?
What? No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran it over there, looked at it again.
So, did you find something?
No.
Huh?
Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all.
Is that all?
Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student.
I'm just an attorney.
But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you!
Me? Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by... So that's the right hand, right? That's the left hand. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there any problem with this?
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry, I can't be more use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, none will be...
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If ever I needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint at Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? Well, yeah. It's right in front. Like, the blue badge was right in front of Detective Gumshoe's locker. So the glove was on the right hand, but he had no on the left hand. So we got a handprint right there. Like, just for visual sakes. Like, right there. Okay. Let's object. Already saved.
Objection!
The handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Yes, something that something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. All this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove something is missing in the floor plans? What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans at the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker. What? So that means, what exactly does that mean? It means it can't be done! What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found at that locker. But don't look at me, I didn't put it there.
Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically.
Emma,
That afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave the handprint on that locker.
after he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint. Is it Meekins' hand? No, wait, it's his left hand that's got wounded. But that must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in? Just one moment, I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered.
Objection!
That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim.
Objection!
The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found in the locker.
Objection!
So then, assuming this murder you purport really... What? Is that a... What? Purport? When did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? To summarize, the defense claims that prior to the Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right, the blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well, then tell us, when this as Mr. Edgyboy said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? Well, the records. The ID records. Oh shit. It only shows once. But who is this 777? We don't know who that is. So 420. That has to be it, right? I don't have any other timestamps. Except this, but that can't be right. Well, it's my only solution. Someone else with the fucking 7x7 ID number entered the room at 420. Blaze it! If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card? Oh, the ID card record. Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, Then it would be 440. 440. Boss Edgy Boy, just what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act with this. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure it out. It couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminal test that the blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away. But the real murderer, I would have just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgyboy entered the evidence room. Let's look at our chart again. There's only one other card remaining. 7 times 7. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 7 times 7. Mr. Edgyboy, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 77777777. That's 1 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least, at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number 777777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity.
Objection!
But that's ridiculous! Just how? I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There's one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge! You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries, that's how the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question. Yes? No, not to you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course, we looked up her ID number, and it's not 77777777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing. About that incident. The SL9 incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Oh, back to the stand with her. You need witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At that time, we occasionally felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did.
Lana?
I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't! I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved.
But Lana...
Even if it involved forging evidence. Are you just both standing at the same... Okay. See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No! Order! Order! Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. Ooh, we gotta do more investigating? Shit. So I managed to get really far, only taking like 2 hints. One, 2. A little extra bonus there. Because it's too exciting to just stop in the middle of everything. But this is it for this part. Hope you guys enjoy. Day 3 of investigation next time. I'm gonna leave you guys with a high five.